And this afternoon, I have the great pleasure of talking to Michael Crocker, who's going to be talking at our upcoming SASH online conference, our first online conference, like many these days. Michael, a warm welcome to you.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here. This is the work that our men and that I have to do, and that we as a society have to do, is how do we help men to be more vulnerable and to have emotional literacy, to actually know what they're feeling. And so in my work, and I've been doing this now for 25 years, which is mind-boggling to me, but I have found that men, and this is backed up with research, is that men are socialized out of their emotions. There's a perfectionism about how they want to exist in the world, rather than being able to recognize that sometimes we hurt, sometimes we don't know, sometimes we really need to reach out and get help. One of the ways I talk about it with my guys is I don't call it self-sufficiency, I call it toxic self-sufficiency. Because I want my clients to understand that this is actually not good for you. It may feel resilient and you may feel empowered in the moment, but all of these feeling states that are underneath are not being dealt with. You know, if you don't feel one type of feeling state, then you're going to block all the others. You're actually inviting people to become more enlivened in their lives, to have more positive affect in their lives as well, not just recognizing distress and fear and sadness and anger, but joy, excitement, interest. Those are all considered affects. And we have to help people to experience them all. It became a real crusade for me in many ways of saying, I want to help men know what they're feeling. And I want to help men get in touch with their vulnerability and find ways to talk about that. And that's really been my work for 25 years now. Right now, there's a lot of suffering because of the pandemic and the fires and just the anxieties about government and politics. We really need to stay in it. And one last thing I'll say is, one way to stay in it is to make sure, using the Al-Anon slogan of putting the oxygen mask on first in order to help others. Like, we've got to make sure our self-care is in place. 100%. And that's what I learned that in the beginning of the pandemic, because I was like, oh, I have to find space for exercise, time for myself, ways of connecting with others personally. It's essential. And that's my closing statement. So,
Michael, I love you to bits for saying that. How can we lead someone down a path we haven't trodden ourselves?
Exactly.
And I don't think every therapist has to be an addict, but they have to do their own work. They have to want to do their own work. So
right.
Bless you for saying that. I think it's one of the most important things.
Great. Thanks, Mark.
Michael, listen, take great care. I'm sorry I won't be able to give you a big hug.
Virtual hug.
But huge virtual hug, a cyber hug, whizzing its way from just southwest of London to you over in New York.
Great. Thank you so much.
Take great care, Michael. We'll speak again soon.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
See you soon.